Conservative members of the Freedom Caucus in the U.S. House of Representatives called today for the appointment of a second special counsel to look into possible misconduct inside the FBI and the Department of Justice. I spoke a short time ago with one member of the Freedom Caucus, Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio. You said today that you are, quote, sick and tired of the runaround you say you've been getting from the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, that you want a second special counsel appointed. Why?
Because Attorney General Jeff Sessions has stated that only under extraordinary circumstances do you have special counsels. Well, how about the fact that 5 of the top people at the FBI have been fired or demoted and reassigned? James Comey's been fired, former director of the FBI. Deputy Director Andrew McCabe's been fired. There's actually a criminal referral because he lied 3 times under oath, according to the Inspector General. Deputy Director of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok has been demoted and reassigned. FBI Counsel Jim Baker has been demoted and reassigned. FBI Counsel Lisa Page has been demoted and reassigned. 5 of the top people demoted, reassigned, and in some cases fired from the FBI. If that isn't unusual, if that isn't extraordinary, someone define to me what is. And these 5 people, while they were working in the Obama administration, ran the Clinton investigation and then launched the Russian investigation into President Trump and his campaign. They're the ones who did the dossier. They're the ones who maybe were involved in what we've seen, this possible informant issue. So for all those reasons, it warrants a second special counsel.
Well, as you know, Congressman, the Deputy Attorney General is a Republican appointed by this administration. The head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, a Republican appointed by this administration. Why not have confidence in them? Let them finish.
I don't care if they're, Judy, I don't care if they're Republican, Independent, Democrat, Martian, American. I don't care. What I care about is getting the information. We have asked repeatedly for information, repeatedly they've denied, and we have actually caught the Department of Justice in withholding information. One of the text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page talked about the relationship Peter Strzok had with FISA Court Judge Contreras, who also happened to be the judge who heard Michael Flynn's case. They redacted that. They didn't want us knowing that somehow Peter Strzok and Judge Contreras were friends. Why? What does that have to do with it? So when you catch the FBI, or excuse me, the Department of Justice withholding information from Congress for no good reason, that sort of puts everything else under this cloud and a little suspect as we look at it.
Do you think they've lied to you or misled you?
I know they redacted that portion of the text message from Strzok and Page, between Strzok and Page, that talked about the relationship Mr. Strzok had with Judge Contreras. They redacted that. Why? Is that classified? No. Is it a part of an ongoing investigation? No. They just didn't want us to know it, and for some reason it was redacted. So that's been the history. They've told us we're entitled, on the Judiciary and Oversight Committee, approximately 46,000 documents. Over the last 6.5 months, we've received approximately 15,000. Right. At the pace we're going to be well into President Trump's second term before we ever get the information that they've told us we're entitled to as members of a separate and equal branch of government.
But if this doesn't happen, just quickly, Congressman Jordan, are you prepared to honor the work that the special counsel is doing?
No one's talking about the special counsel. We're just talking about getting information. But what we do know, now think about this. Those 5 people who have been fired, demoted, or reassigned, those same 5 people took an opposition research document paid for by the Clinton campaign, took it to the FISA court to get a warrant to spy on a fellow American citizen. They didn't tell the court who wrote the document, that guy who wrote the document had been fired by the FBI, Christopher Steele, and they didn't tell the court who paid for it.
Well, when I
go to court, Judy, when we go to court, we have to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, all the truth. But the FBI went to court and didn't do the same thing. That's a problem.
I want to move on to something else. Inside the Republican caucus, in the House of Representatives, there are clearly serious divisions. Republicans did not support the GOP leadership, what the GOP leadership wanted last week with regard to the Farm Bill. Is Speaker Ryan in trouble? Do you believe that he is going to see out his term as Speaker till the end of this year?
I do think that. Paul's been clear about that. There's plenty of time to get a Farm Bill done. We do want to get a Farm Bill across the finish line, one that actually has work requirements for folks in the SNAP program, the food stamp program. But right now, the focus is on getting immigration policy right. Because the American people on November 8th, 2016, were very clear about making sure we built the border security wall. We did the right thing on immigration. That's what we conservatives are focused on getting done, because that was a paramount issue in the last campaign.
But I'm also asking you about the leadership. Since this was basically a repudiation of what the leadership was asking for, Are we now looking at a situation where
No.
Speaker Ryan's job is in jeopardy?
It wasn't a repudiation. It was saying we should have a focus on doing the right immigration policy. After all, some of our colleagues
Well, that's not what the leadership
are bringing forth a discharge petition, which would bring to the floor, and the end result would be a bill that is not consistent with the mandate of the 2016 election. We are focused, we conservatives who oppose that farm bill, we are focused on getting the right immigration policy done, one that is consistent with what we told the American people we were going to do.
Finally, Congressman, more than 100 members of the Tea Party movement have signed a letter urging you to run for Speaker of the House. Are you going to do that?
I've been very clear. If and when there's a race for Speaker, I plan to be a part of that conversation. Right now, the focus has got to be on what we do as Republicans to make sure we're in the majority. More important than who the Speaker is next year is what Republicans do this year. We better get focused on the things the American people elected us to do, accomplishing those things, and first and foremost in that is the right kind of immigration legislation that deals with the border security wall, deals with chain migration, deals with the visa lottery. That's what we got to focus on.
Should there be a new election for Speaker before the election?
No, I think the Speaker has been clear he's going to stay till after the election, and I think that is just fine.
Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio, thank you very much.
Thank you, Judy.